Am I the a-hole for getting frustrated with my boyfriend for implying I don't deserve to make the money I make? Am I the a-hole for not wanting my son's bully to attend his birthday party? Am I the a-hole for getting mad at my mom for refusing to let my wife host a single holiday? Am I the a-hole for getting frustrated with my boyfriend for implying I don't deserve to make the money I make? I'm a 28-year-old woman and I got really lucky to get the job I have right now. I studied electrical and computer engineering in college and job hopped 4 times. Each time I switched jobs, I negotiated really hard for pay and benefits. I am making 160 grand now, working remotely, and living in a very low cost of living area. It's a really nice gig, and I recognize I'm extremely lucky to have interests that line up with a super well paying industry, and super lucky to have been able to go to college at all. But despite that, I feel like I did work to deserve it somewhat. College was super demanding and difficult. My first few jobs had grueling schedules, and I feel like I'm being paid more for the knowledge I built over all the time. But still, I have to admit, it's pretty cushy. I never work over 40 hours a week. My coworkers never contact me about work outside of my 9 to 5. I get paid stupid good money for it, and I have 2 months vacation time. So on to the conflict. My boyfriend used to work outside the home. He is an IT admin at a large company, but because of the pandemic, his job became partially remote. So we're working out of the same house, and I think he sees how different our jobs and pay are. He makes 65 grand a year and works a lot longer hours. He usually starts his day at 7 or 8 a.m. and works till 6 or 7 p.m. He more often has to work weekends to do IT stuff, and he is on call for emergencies with his personal phone. And it seems like they're having emergencies every week. So, since we've been working from home together, he makes comments about it occasionally, like, must be nice kind of things. Recently, he's gotten more frustrated with me though. Yesterday, I had a bad headache, so I told my boss that I was going be away from my desk for a while since I wasn't feeling well. I blocked out a 2-hour meeting on my calendar so people wouldn't try and reach me and took a nap. My boyfriend saw me napping during work and said, "They're really paying you to sleep, huh?" I snapped at him saying that they were paying me for my skills and that I didn't care for the way he had been talking about my job. He said something pretty about my skills at napping and shooting the shit on Zoom, and how that's definitely worth 6 figures. I got really irritated and said that just because he was underpaid doesn't mean that he could call me overpaid. If he was mad, he should go take that out on his boss, not me. He said that I was being ridiculous. He'd be in the shit at work if he did. I said maybe he needs to find a better job if his boss isn't ready to talk money. He called me privileged and out of touch and said that it isn't that easy to just go find a better job. I said that if you don't try, you're never going to know. He got irritated and stormed out. Am I the a-hole for how I talk to my boyfriend about work?
I'm not sure what the boyfriend's education is, but there is a marked difference between someone with a computer science or engineering degree and being an IT professional. Additionally, there are a lot more IT professionals than computer science engineers in the marketplace, which also drives earnings. Right now, a person with a computer science degree, especially with experience, can almost write their own ticket right now. Add to it that it's a salaried job, meaning that there are going to be times where they will work very long hours and other times with a lot of flexibility. He needs to rein in the green-eyed monster or he will be working from home alone. I'm in the same boat as OP, work 2 to 4 hours a day for full-time pay, no OT, very flexible hers, more pay than husband. Husband's job starts at 8 a.m., technically ends at 5, but there seems to always be a meeting from 6 to 7:30, and sometimes he's on call until midnight. It's really hard to hide how little work I have to do compared to his when we work in the same house. From OP's BF's view, I get why it's frustrating to see someone work less than you and earn so much more, but he's not dealing with it in a healthy way. A partner that earns more and is less stressed is a benefit to the relationship if he can get over his ego. My husband will make comments sometimes about what an easy life I have, but he gets that I have a niche skill that's not easily replaceable, and appreciates that my less stressful job means I can help out more around the house when he's too busy to do his share of the chores. He also understands that without what I make, he wouldn't have been able to take 2 years off to care for his mom when she got sick. I'm in the same boat as OP, work 2 to 4 hours a day for full-time pay, no OT, very flexible hers, more pay than husband. Husband's job starts at 8 a.m., technically ends at 5, but there seems to always be a meeting from 6 to 7:30, and sometimes he's on call until midnight. It's really hard to hide how little work I have to do compared to his when we work in the same house. From OP's BF's view, I get why it's frustrating to see someone work less than you and earn so much more, but he's not dealing with it in a healthy way. A partner that earns more and is less stressed is a benefit to the relationship if he can get over his ego. My husband will make comments sometimes about what an easy life I have, but he gets that I have a niche skill that's not easily replaceable, and appreciates that my less stressful job means I can help out more around the house when he's too busy to do his share of the chores. He also understands that without what I make, he wouldn't have been able to take 2 years off to care for his mom when she got sick. Yes, NTA. May this be a sign that she should drop the guy. You do the duties your job requires and get paid for doing it. If you get paid for your job complete, what is the issue? He's upset that you as the woman are making more than him. He's saying it'd go bad for him if he brought up his issues with his boss, but demonstrates no concern for how taking this out on you would go. It shows he feels he can just trash you, and then you sit there and take it. It gets me so upset to read about people who move in with partners and then coming to realize these terrible attitudes. Leave him and don't let men move in you just to critique your success while also benefiting from it.
Am I the a-hole for not wanting my son's bully to attend his birthday party? I, 40 male, have a son, 9 male, Lucas. My ex passed away a year after Lucas was born. Lucas is being raised by myself and my husband, 41 male. He is very shy and doesn't socialize a ton in school. He does have a great small group of friends. His birthday is coming up and he wants to have a small party with friends and classmates. We went out and picked up some invitations and he handed them out in school. Another student that he was friends with, Tyler, picks on him every day for being shy and having 2 dads. I have met with Tyler's parents to discuss the bullying and they even made comments about my relationship. Lucas invites his friends and classmates. Tyler's parents call me demanding to know why Tyler did not receive an invite to the party. I explained to her that it was up to Lucas who was invited. She called me a few names and demanded for Tyler to receive an invitation tomorrow or she would go to the school. I told my husband what happened and he understands that I am protecting Lucas, but should not teach him to exclude people. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my son's bully to attend his birthday party?
NTA, and what your husband said is completely wrong in this situation. If you force Lucas to invite Tyler, you will be teaching him that it is okay for people to be mean to him and mistreat him. You would be saying he doesn't have a right to stand up for himself and say that I won't continue to engage or interact with someone who is bullying me. Lucas and Tyler are old enough to learn that there are consequences to their actions. If you make Lucas invite Tyler, you are teaching him that there are no consequences for Tyler bullying him. You would also be saying that his home isn't a safe space from Tyler's bullying because you would be inviting the child who is mistreating you so into your home. NTA. Your husband is mistaken. It's great that he wants to teach your son not to exclude others, but the cost of that should not be to teach him that anyone who wants to can be as horrible to him as they want to, and that he is still obligated to prioritize their feelings over his own to be a good person. This child has made your son feel uncomfortable and unsafe at school. Please do not force him to feel that way at his own birthday party. I would tell Tyler's parents that they are welcome and encouraged to go to the school, and that it would be lovely to get Tyler's ongoing bullying of your son addressed by the school as well. NTA. Why would you want to ruin and further traumatize your child on his birthday over some little SHT with parents just as bad? The entitlement of the bully's parents is insane that they would even think they have a right to demand their child get an invite to a child's home that he has been bullying. It is insane this is even a question. This isn't a lesson regarding inclusiveness, it's a matter of showing your son he has a right to boundaries and he can draw this one with his bully and you can with his parents. What's the school going to do? They can't make up the rules for your household, so she is quite free to go to them. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I say no to the bully receiving an invite. Your son deserves his day without this stain. NTA, I can't help but think that your husband has never experienced bullying himself. Your husband forcing your son to allow the bully to attend his party would be a betrayal, which would make your husband an enabler for the bully. Just one more person who allows the bully to get away with doing whatever he wants with no consequences, even invading his victim's private celebrations, with the permission of the very people supposedly meant to protect him the most. The bully doesn't even have to do anything to him at the party. Your son, just knowing that he has no protection, no right to get away from the bully, even when it comes to his private family events, will be enough to make him feel shit all by itself and much more vulnerable. NTA, and your husband is dead wrong here. At that age, it is important to teach kids that their own actions might exclude them. If this was a case of Tyler just being the weird kid or something, I'd agree, you should convince your son to include kids others find odd, but this is not that. This kid is being excluded for being mean, and he needs to learn sooner, rather than later, that no one wants to put up with that. If his parents are unwilling to teach him, then the only time he'll get consequences are when he sees himself excluded from social events, making it all the more important that you maintain that lone consequence for him. NTA, anyone who would make a 9-year-old invite his bully to his birthday party goes beyond asshole and into realms of raging arsehole. Why would anyone think that would be appropriate or necessary? It'd be a quick way to ruin your son's birthday and make him feel completely valueless. If Tyler's parents bring it up again, you should tell them exactly why he isn't invited, because he's a cruel little shit who needs to learn there's consequences for hurting people. And if they take it to the school, so what? What can the school do about it? Put you in detention. It's an out-of-school event that doesn't involve them at all. Also, if they try to make an issue of it, turn it right back on them. If they'd sorted out the bullying issue, then maybe Tyler would have been invited, but since they failed to protect your child, you have to do it yourself.
Am I the a-hole for getting mad at my mom for refusing to let my wife host a single holiday? I've been married for 6 years and my wife and my mom have never really gotten along. I don't think my mom is an awful mother-in-law. They just don't vibe and they avoid each other if they can. I would describe the relationship as frosty. My mom does respect our boundaries and doesn't undermine us as parents. She just keeps a pretty big distance and doesn't interact much. My mom hosts all holidays at her house, as does my mother-in-law. My wife and I rotate which family we celebrate with, and my mom is cool with that and has never pressured us to go to her house. Recently, my wife has expressed that she wants a turn to host, and she feels like since we have kids, 4 and 2, that the moms should hand it over to her. She talked to her mom, who was very sad, but agreed to let my wife have one holiday. I talked to my mom since we both do the communication with our own family, and my mom said no. I gave her my wife's reason. 1, we have young kids. 2, we have our own house now and our own little family, and it's exciting for my wife. 3, my mom got 20 plus years of hosting. My mom said no again. She said, if we don't want to come over, we don't have to, but she will not be coming to our house. She said we can invite my side of the family, but she honestly thinks that would be an a-hole thing to do. I asked if she really was willing to give up her holiday with her grandkids, and she said yes. I did get frustrated and called her selfish. The conversation ended with my mom yelling at me that I am a hypocrite, and she feels like I expect her to care about my wife more than she is obligated to. I asked around, and none of my relatives are willing to come. But my sister did yell at me and said I'm a bad son, and I'm disrespectful for thinking our mom should give up something she cares about. I work for my stepdad's company, and he is currently not talking to me. I guess my whole extended family is talking bad about me, and they are offended that I thought they would come to my house.
NaH, from my view, the mom isn't being selfish. She just doesn't feel like going to someone else's house. I totally get that. You can't force her, just like no one is forcing the wife to an OP to show up to his mother's. The mom is setting boundaries by saying she's okay with him and the wife hosting at their house, but she prefers to stay at home. OP's wife wants to host now. Okay, go ahead. OP's mom wants to continue her 20+ year tradition. Just because OP gets married and his wife feels like trying hosting doesn't mean OP's mom has to stop. She can choose not to go, and OP and family can choose to hold it without her. Nothing is lost. It will be awkward because most of the family will probably attend the mom's not BC they don't like OP's wife, but because they are accustomed to the mom's food and her household. It feels weird sometimes to go over to someone who's new to hosting a holiday dinner. I love to do the cooking. It's my thing. My turkey, homemade rolls, and pies are famous in our family. I even have a friend who pays me to cook the full meal for him to take to his small family. Cooking makes me happy. Hosting, however, is not really my jam. My house is small, I don't have enough dishes, or chairs, or anything. So in our family, we meet at my sister's huge house because she loves to have people over, but hates to cook. Seriously, they have 2 full-size tables, but eat takeout 4 nights a week. My mom buys all the food, I cook it, my sister provides the space and hardware, and everyone has a wonderful time. I do most of the prep at my own house, my knives are better, lol, and bake at hers, since she has double ovens, but all the people and chaos end up at her house, lol. I for one really hate being expected to go to anyone to celebrate. I want my holidays to relax. Have some peace and quiet and not being obligated to do anything. It might be different if all my and my wife's family would gather together at one place, but they don't, and everyone is expecting that we show up at their places because they want to see us. So Christmas and Easter become really stressful for us because we are just running around with quite some hours to drive between everyone to fulfill everyone's expectations. We stopped doing this a few years back, and since then the holidays became something we actually can look forward to. Bad MIL and bad mother IMO. She is not supporting her son, and this story gives no reason to not be. Some people don't vibe, but if you care about your child at all, you will make some sort of effort to support him or her and the people she or he chooses to bring into their life. If my mom didn't try to get to know my significant other and made it obvious that she doesn't like them when my significant other has not done anything to deserve that kind of treatment, I'd tell my mom to change or lose me and that part of her life. My significant other is the other half of my team, and if my mom chooses to not support that, then I won't support the idea of her being around my family. Simple as that. Yes, all of this. I was reading all the AITA replies and thinking I was going mad. OP tried to sabotage his mum's event despite her telling him ahead of time that it would be hurtful to her. And OP's wife deciding she gets to dictate the holiday plans for both families' event though everyone else seems to like the current arrangement. OP's wife wants to take over what appears to be a matriarchal thing because she wants the extended family centered around her and her children, but she wants to do it while her mum and her MIL are both alive and kicking and perfectly willing and able to host. Notable that OP has a sister too. It's entirely possible that OP's wife is treading on her toes as well if she anticipated one day taking over this family tradition from her mum. Seems so inconsiderate of them to upend and co-opt everyone's holiday traditions because now they have children.